It is disappointing to see what's been going on and the behavior is still continuing, but it's still a young kid, right? It's no different than seniors at frat parties that's getting drunk and getting wasted. And if we look back on their life, they're gonna be like, "What was I even thinking?" At that point. Um, you know, Role models really is a key to being successful. Understanding that you're not bigger than life, and understanding how to be a superstar, right? Superstars are given the keys but not taught how to be one. um it's disappointing that he has to learn the hard way, and sometimes this is what happens. You have to lose everything to sometimes realize that this is more important than our minds really think.
Has he, as somebody who's dealt with a similar experience, who also was a superstar NBA player, has he reached out to you? Would you be willing to talk to him and try to, mentor him a little bit on what's going on?
No, he hasn't reached out. To be honest, I don't think it's at that level. Like when I look at the behavior, I step back and try to analyze. It's like, I know, the media, I'm in the media too. We want to paint, he wants to be a thug. I don't get the sense of thug. I get the sense of misplaced happiness, right? You're at the strip club, you're having fun, you're drunk. What makes you think hold gun, right? That doesn't come across, holding a stack of money, doing that's what that, in the car with your friends, having fun, pulling a gun. What does the concept even mean? And I just think it's just misplaced behavior at this point. I think that the team really, if they're not going to bring any vets, then I think management needs to really come in, step up and say, hey, this is your investment, 200, 300, whatever you're going to put into this kid, protect it, right? Give him his own bodyguards, security service, his own drivers. Right now, he's a kid. He has friends that are kids. They don't know the importance of what's going on, who he is. He's just going out there playing a game he loves and being 23, right? He's not being taught like LeBron James, right? He has Warren Buffett, he has Michael Jordan to go through. So he knows, he learns how to move, or a Kobe Bryant. So, he has to have guidance from, people who are in those situations to say, this is how you move. You move like, these are what stars move like, right? You just can't go out there being reckless, pulling up to sporting goods or whatever that Foot Locker, Foot Action, and trying to bang on the damn manager. You can call him, right? You're at this situation where you can call and fix it over the phone.
Gilbert, what would you say? What would you say to Ja if he was to reach out, or if you had the opportunity to have him on Gil's Arena, which we'll talk about in a second?
Um, what do you want? What do you want your legacy to be? What your kids are gonna Google one day? I did 99 things right. I did one thing wrong. Everybody remembers the one thing, right? So, do you want your legacy, no matter how many champions you win, how many scoring titles you win, they're going to remember this moment in time. So you have to do a lot of scrubbing just to scrub the first part of the behavior, right? So, if that's what you're willing to do, then let's do it. That's what you got to do. You have to really understand legacy, name, the back of the name. You have a sister. You don't want her fighting in school because they're saying, yeah, your brother's a thug, and now she has to defend your honor. Like, those are the things that really play a part in an athlete. Like you see Westbrook, you're calling him, out of his name, his last name, and his kids walk around like, they calling me this, right? So move like you're trying to be the president. Move like you're following LeBron's footsteps, right? In those guys. Protect your assets, protect your name, protect your future, right? You shouldn't be, especially in this time of sports, you can hire anyone. You can hire a driver. You can hire security team if you think your life is, You can have parties at your own house where everything is controlled. You don't have to actually go step into a club in this time with the resources you have. So, start understanding what resources you have and start using them, to protect yourself.
Does he come back from this? I'm sure you respect his game as well as anyone. He might, playing the position, and he's very talented. Where does he go from here? Does he get back from this?
Uh, He hasn't actually done anything to anybody for anybody to really hold this against him, right? There's no victim. He's his own victim. He's his own, enabler. And it's him. It's self. This is all self. So it's not like he's went out there and he's pointing a gun at someone, or he's fired it at someone. It's him just being reckless, in his own his space. So yes, I think he can get back to being who he is, but I'm pretty sure he wants to be more than where he is now, right? To be in those conversations with Tatum, Luka, Joker, the Greek, the Freak. Now it's going to be 6-7 years of clean nose and great basketball to be back in that category. And if he's willing to do that, then the game, the basketball stuff, that's going to handle itself. He's talented. It's no one's going to question, can he play himself out of all of this, which we know he can. It's the other things like, are you willing to do and understand that you're not allowed to actually have as much fun as you think you can. You're not allowed to have that kind of fun. I'm sorry. You can't be a superstar and enjoy life. That's not how, it works. You have to enjoy that when it's done. Right? You think Kobe didn't want to go out and go to the club and be 19 and 20 and 21? Yeah, of course he did. But he understood that, once he became a champion and all-star, sacrifices had to be made. Friends had to be let go. And he had to build an empire. And if that's what you want, then you have to go out there and do it. So I think he can get back or get to where he wants to be. It's just going to take effort.
I'm sure this subject, something that you're talking about a lot on Gil's Arena. It's yourself and Josiah Johnson on the Underdog Fantasy Content Network. Tell people about the show and how much have you enjoyed stepping onto the other side of the media?
It's amazing because, right now we're on YouTube, so we have freedom of speech. And, that's the only thing that I have pushback with, big media, that, you're controlled. So if you're controlled, then you're not really giving out real information. And if you're not giving out real information, then it's really hard to educate, the masses. Right now we freely talk. It's more open panel, like the ESPN style, and we go through topics, and I get to really just use the knowledge I know and all this useless stuff I have up here, and and try to give information that can help the next generation. I also watch, everything else, trying to learn. And, because those guys, like, I'm not one of those guys that say, well, if you didn't play, well, I am one of those guys. If you didn't play the sport, you shouldn't, but I'm on the other side now and I'm out of my element. And they can easily say, hey, you didn't go to school for this. You need to shut up. So I learn, understand, realize in 20 years, you guys got 20, 10, 15, 30 years. So I have to do more of being quiet and really understanding the process. So, having Gil's Arena where I get to just really just be free, knowing that at some point I have to reel it in. But, it's really just being able to really just freely speak my mind.
And you and Josiah, you have good chemistry. It's like you and Jameson or someone, makes the show if you're getting along and actually having good conversations with somebody that you can work with.
Yeah, right now, we have Brendan Jennings, who's on Monday. No, he's on Tuesday and Thursday. McCants is, Rashad McCants comes on Wednesday and Thursday. And, we just added Kenya Martin. We have Miko Grimes. We have Lexi Brown, from the Sparks. So we have a good crew that we can rotate in and out, that just wants to talk sports and, debate and really give a whole different, feel to sports.
3 shows a week, right?
Yeah, we do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
I mean, you obviously are so outspoken, and you said 99 times you didn't make a mistake. You seem like you're comfortable talking about your past these days.
Yeah, the reason is I had to understand what accountability is and understand what it means to everyone else, right? And once I understood that there's really no such thing, right? When you are accountable, you understand your mistakes, you change the behavior, you never do those again. It doesn't go anywhere. It's still there. No matter what you do, someone's going to remind you of what you did when you were 29, right? So you're going to always be brought back. So to really understand that no matter what you do, you're going to always be brought back to that time, in your past. So you accept it. Once you accept it, like, oh, I did it, I regret it, I've changed, never looked at a gun again, never touched a gun again, right? So I can say, hey, what you're doing ain't worth it. That's not worth. The ego is not worth it. The argument in the locker room ain't worth it. Gambling, $200, $1,000 ain't worth it. Let it go, because you don't want to live the rest of your life being brought back to what you did at 28, right? So once you understand that as an adult, as a human being, you can really get past most of the things that we should feel ashamed for.